How's it going? Welcome back to another awesome episode of On the Throttle with Jacqui Van Ham and my buddy Josh. Is that the right way? Yeah, it is. We are in the studio today together.
Yes.
I know, reunited. It's been a hot minute.
I'm not going to sing it.
We all lucked out. Josh is not going to sing on today's program. No. But do stick around, even though he's not going to sing, because we've got an awful lot of awesome stuff going on today's show. It is yet another show within a show within a show, because we have another incredible interview. We got our special guest interview. David Zemla, the VP of Marketing from S&S Cycle, is going to be a part of today's show as well. And then as far as our regular weekly topics, Josh, I will be talking about a tale of two baggers. And what are you talking about on today's program?
So I've got the pot of gold. I mean, it's St. Patrick's Day is coming up. And then there's maybe some speculation about, we're just going to say plus 100 points.
Plus 100 points. Interesting. Well, we're all going to have to stick around to hear more about that story and all of today's stories after this word from our sponsor.
From the trails to the track, D.I.D chains are manufactured with the highest quality materials and designed to give you an optimal riding experience and are the top chain choice worldwide. When performance, quality, and consistency matter, go with D.I.D. What drives you?
Well, welcome back, everybody, and thanks to this week's sponsor, D.I.D. So, as promised just a moment ago, I am talking about a tale of two baggers. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Our first story is talking about an exciting bike that is coming from the folks over at Indian Motorcycle. And your eyes are not deceiving you. Indeed, this great, big, huge, beautiful king of the baggers bike can be yours. For the low, low price, Josh, care to wager a guess on that?
34.
Well, you are wrong. 34 plus a whole bunch of more money is how much that's going to cost you. Anyway, this beautiful bike is available from Indian Motorcycle. They just announced it this past week. Fresh off of winning the 2022 Moto America King of the Baggers Championship, Indian has gone and done it. They are indeed offering up this super exclusive opportunity to actually buy yourself a Challenger RR bike. This bike just came out this past week, a press release from the folks over at Indian Motorcycle. This is an homage to Tyler O'Hara's number 29. Only 29 Indian Challenger race bikes offer a rare opportunity for riders and collectors to own the undisputed king of the baggers. This is what the folks at Indian have to say. Indian Motorcycle and S&S Cycle's 2022 King of the Baggers Championship season, America's first motorcycle company, today announced the retail availability of only 29 of these exclusive Indian Challenger RR motorcycles. These are built to the actual 2022 race spec by the same S&S folks that wrenched Tyler O'Hara's number 29 championship-winning bike. Each purpose-built Indian Challenger RR is available for die-hard track riders and collectors. They're very careful about mentioning that this is strictly for track purpose only for a premium price. Josh, hold on to your seat. $92,229 American dollars. The Indian Challenger RR marks the first time fans can purchase a purpose-built race bagger. Now, I'm careful to say that because several years ago, Indian Motorcycle did make available their FTR 750 bike that has been racing over at American Flat Track Racing and has been absolutely crushing it. After the first season of the AFT season for the folks over at Indian Motorcycle, they made that bike available to the public. At the time, this was a bit of a coup, and this definitely burned down the internet because those bikes were for sale for a whopping $50,000 each, and people lost their marbles about it. That all being said, every single one of them was spoken for and sold, and that is because folks were actually racing those bikes. So this is where it gets really interesting. Companies, privateers, race teams picked up that 750 FTR and then campaigned them. And if you have been following AFT, you know that they campaigned them with a ton of success because that bike was absolutely crushing it. So I'm really curious to see what happens now with this handful of Challenger road race bikes. Is this going to be something that people are going to pick up and go racing with for $92,000? Or is this strictly a collector-only play? I'm not really sure. We're all going to have to wait and see what happens. Josh, what do you think about this Challenger road race bike?
It's an interesting bike, and I mean, when you look at the fabrication that's on that rear swing arm is a one-off piece. I mean, all of this. There's a ton of one-off pieces on that. Years ago, my dad got out of road racing, and he said part of it was because it was about cubic dollars, and that bike is all about cubic dollars. So if you've got it and you want to run that, someone's going to do that.
Yeah.
We will see this on a track somewhere.
Absolutely. So for this $92,000, by the way, this is what you're going to get. It has the S&S 2-in-1 race exhaust, 17-inch race rims, Dunlop race tires, S&S billet adjustable triple clamps, Öhlins forks, TTX Öhlin rear shock, S&S chain drive conversion, carbon fiber saddlebags, fiberglass rear fender, Saddlemen raised race seat, S&S adjustable fairing mount, yada, yada, yada. They threw the entire kitchen sink at it. This is an actual like replica race bike. This is not just a Challenger that they threw stickers on, just to make it very, very clear, because they are really careful to say that this is collectors and track only. So my first question is, which race teams are going to pick up this guy and go campaign at number 1? And number 2, which collector is going to pick up this guy and throw a headlight on it and go take it on the street? I am really curious to see what happens with this Challenger RR machine.
It'll be interesting to see.
That is my first story for today, the world's fastest bagger. Josh, what do you got going on for your first story?
So for me, the thing that has been, you spoke of burning down the internet, and the thing that has been burning down the internet in the dirtier side of things has been the KOVE 450. Now, the big question is this the pot of gold, or is this just the proverbial pot of insert whatever you want to here? So, and of course, with St. Patrick's Day coming up, I had to go with pot of gold. Other people have made unicorn references, and is it or is it not? So the big deal about this is a rally bike that is going to go for $89.95 is all. And that is an absolute steal. This is 450 cc's. It's a claimed 51 horsepower. It's a 6-speed gearbox. It's 320 pounds dry. It is 12 inches of suspension travel front and rear. There is plenty of wind protection, as you can see right there. So that way you can get to the trails and you're not going to need to stop, because this thing has 8 gallons of fuel on board. And it carries it really low, which is absolutely awesome. There's a ton of other great features in this that I thought about getting into, but I started down a different rabbit hole. And what makes this bike so unique is this fills in a gap, because let's take a quick peek at the nearest competitors. CRF 300L Rally from Honda. It's got less fuel and, oh, let's think about that, less than half the horsepower. We also know that you're going to need to dump some money into that suspension because it's a little on the soft side. It starts at $6,100. It's only got 3.4 gallons of fuel. You're going to spend $900 just to get the suspension dialed in, so you're only $1,995 shy of the KOVE. Now, what's cool about this is those are 2 bikes right there, the KOVE, not the orange one in the center. That'll come up later. Those 2 bikes are confirmed here on U.S. soil. I actually talked with someone today that has put their hands on both of them. A similar bike, kind of one of the ones in the center there, the KTM EXC 500F. Lighter weight, WP suspension, those are big wins. You've also got local dealerships. $12,549, plus you still need wind protection, and that only has a 2-gallon fuel tank. Round numbers, $14,500, at which point you can buy 1.6 KOVE 450s. There's a big hole here in the market is what I'm getting at. Me being the DRZ guy, brand new DRZ, it's a 24-year-old motorcycle, $67.99. It's got 2 gallons of fuel, same weight as the KOVE, missing a gear. We've only got 5 of them. And like the KTM, you need to add $2,000 for the wind protection and fuel. You're only $196 away from the KOVE. So that is what the hype is about. This is an amazing bike at an amazing price point when you look at everything on paper so far. The fact that there's only 2 so far in the country, that is where we've got questions. So I started asking why some people are kind of negative on this. And it's a newer manufacturer overall. KOVE has not been around for a tremendous amount of time. They are a Chinese manufacturer that has been mainly making some other bikes. This is the first bike coming to the U.S. from them. So Chinese bikes, in a way, they still have to get past some of the reputation of the early 2000s. But when you've got companies like MV, CSC, and KTM all trusting the Chinese manufacturers with things, I think they've turned a corner. So how are these bikes coming to the U.S.? That's what I wanted to know. So I reached out to USA Motor Toys. They are the importer of these bikes to get the scoop on how this is going to come down. And one thing there's always been with some of the Chinese manufacturers is that fly-by-night thing. USA Motor Toys has started 20 years ago. They started in pit bikes, and the owner, Gary Goodwin, saw that people are importing cheap pit bikes, putting $2,000 into them to get them to run like champ bikes, and he thought, why not just import a better bike? So that's what he started with, at which point then they started GPX, and GPX filled Gary's want for bigger and more versatile bikes. That led Gary being aligned with KOVE. And that's where this story is interesting, because it was that partnership with GPX which brought KOVE in here, which allows them into the U.S. market, gave them a contact point, a solid contact point, who's been in the U.S. for a long time to bring there. So as I started to read through that story, and I got that story from USA Motor Toys, it was interesting, because as I'm hearing this, the only thing that came to mind was there was someone else that saw a giant hole in the market quite a few years back that went overseas to say, hey, no one here, there's not a bike here that fills what I want. And that person's name was John Penton. And if that name doesn't ring a bell, it should. Go look it up. If it does, that's the guy that started to bring KTM into the U.S. So to me, if you're riding an orange bike right now, you need to thank him. This, to me, is such a unique story, and why I wanted to kind of dive into that rabbit hole is, first off, this is a bike that I am super excited about. Obviously, it doesn't take much to get me excited, but I am super excited about this one. With this, I'm curious about opinions on this. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are going to say, hey, it's not one of the big four, it's not orange, it's not whatever, and they're not going to be here. I mean, to me, there's so many things to be excited about this. And is this the one that makes the big four take note? Is this the one that makes others take note? I'm wishing them all the luck in the world. I'm super excited to see how this turns out. Yeah. What are your thoughts with that?
It's a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on there with that story, Josh. So thank you for breaking it down for us. No, we have touched on KOVE in the past because this has come up a couple of times. It is a bit of an odd duck, but a really exciting odd duck. I do love your graphic, by the way. Thank you for the pot of gold there. That's wonderful. No, I love bikes that are bang for your buck. I am a very frugal motorcyclist. I like things we're both cheap. I mean, let's just call it out as we see it. We're both a bunch of cheapskates. I love cool bikes that are less than $10,000, and this has got a lot going on for that $8,000 price tag. I'm really curious to see how they do, where it ends up, what the dealership network is going to look like. When is this coming? I'm just really curious to see. I know, and that's a really soon date, and I don't know where they're going to sell them out of. Am I just buying them online? Are they selling them at Walmart? Like, what's happening here?
They're actually working on a dealer network and broadening that out. They're going to be imported into Utah is where they're actually going to be coming in at, and they're going to go from there. There's word of multiple dealerships that are interested, that are saying, yep, I want this. There's even some locally here that I have heard that they're saying, we're interested, we're in talks. Okay. I like that. That is that fighting chance we're looking for.
Yeah, we're all going to have to wait and see. I mean, fingers crossed that one gets sent to your house so we can all find out more about it. Now, as promised at the very beginning of the program, I did mention that today is another special doubleheader episode. That's right, we've got another bonus feature interview from AIM Expo that was held in Las Vegas just a handful of weeks ago. Today's interview is going to be with David Zemla, longtime industry icon out here and the VP of Marketing for S&S Cycle. Let's get into it. Hey there, Motorcycle and Powersports News fam. This is Jackie Van Ham here at AIM Expo in Las Vegas. And I had to take a second, snag my friend David Zemla from S&S Cycle and chat a little bit about what is going on with S&S Cycle. What's coming up next? Where are you going racing? What's next in development for you?
A lot of racing.
Awesome.
So King of the Baggers, we won the championship last year. kind of as the underdog. A lot of Harleys on the track. We took an Indian to the podium. I think it made Harley mad. I think they're mad.
You think did you hurt some feelings?
I think they're mad. I think
Okay.
they're very mad. So they've made sure that every other bike possible for the 23 season has a Harley badge on it. So there's entire teams now that had Indians that are now all Harley and have support from Milwaukee. So
Interesting.
we're going to take the Indian Challenger and beat them again.
Okay, so outside of bagger racing, what else is going on for S&S for 2023? Where are you at? What are you doing?
You know, we're doing something that, again, kind of way ahead of the industry. We're building compliant performance.
Oh.
You know, automotive industry years ago figured out how to build 800 horsepower cars and bolt-on parts and things like that, and not go afoul of emissions laws.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. The motorcycle industry has kind of thumbed their nose at that for years, and the EPA and CARB are very much onto it. They are not playing anymore.
Yeah.
You know, a single infringement could be $37,000 fine from CARB.
Wow.
Right, but at the end of the day, you can make great power and great sound and all those things with the cat.
Yeah.
The bike doesn't care.
Okay.
And a matter of fact, an M8, a new generation Harley, runs better with a cat. I can make more horsepower and more torque with
Oh.
a catalyzed exhaust than I can with an open exhaust. It likes the back pressure.
Okay.
So we have an in-house emissions lab. We now have competitors coming to us asking for support.
Wow.
So I think we're making legitimate compliant performance. Every M8 air cleaner, every twin cam air cleaner we make is actually CARB approved. You know, and it's irrelevant to the consumer whether there is or isn't,
yeah.
but it's really relevant to the government bodies.
It is.
So, but you can still make power
Yeah.
and not get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
So,
Very interesting.
and as a company, very few others are doing that right now.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah.
They'll have no choice. You know, that's the same with the automotive industry. You're not going to find a guy doing a cat delete, you know, it's a substantial brand. You know, you just can't do it anymore.
No. No.
So motorcycle industry is right there now. So as far as things that are S&S is doing, that's top of the list.
Okay.
So we're also doing a lot of Royal Enfield parts.
Okay.
I love that bike.
Yeah.
So the 650 Twin,
Yeah.
fantastic little bike. I commuted last summer on an RE 650. I have a whole library of Harleys that I could have played with.
Yeah.
And I actually rode that bike. And we are twisty little tiny roads where we're at.
Yeah.
And it was actually a better tool for the job.
Very fun.
So very fun bikes.
Yeah.
We made them so they sound good and make some power.
Huh.
And that's one of my favorites right now.
That's
Yeah.
very cool. S&S Cycle, V-twin performance, and Royal Enfield
And
performance.
parallel twin. You know, at the end of the day, we just make stuff go fast.
I love
you know?
it. Yeah.
We launched our off-road division last year. So focused on UTV.
Oh.
You know, an engine's an engine for us. I mean, we're very good at V-twin.
Yeah.
But we're very good at making things go fast.
Okay.
And not so picky as to what the thing is.
Okay.
So we dug into the UTV space and
Yeah.
what can we do? We created an exhaust that's tunable for both sound and power.
Wow.
Like nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
So really neat sounding, really legit exhaust for those.
Very
We
cool.
just launched a turbo kit for the Kawasaki KRX 1000. It's the only sport style car that doesn't have a turbo from the factory. So we did a legit turbo kit for that. That
Wow.
is it's 50+% more horsepower bolt on.
Oh my gosh.
Very fun. In fact, this summer I'm going to take one of our cars and make an autocross car out of it. So we're going to go bum out Miatas. Should be a very good time. It should be because we're us, right?
Yeah.
We're S&S. This is all we do is race stuff and make stuff go faster.
Yeah.
So like we've got this turbo car sitting there, and I used it for an event a couple weeks ago. And as soon as I get back from this event, I'm going to take it all apart, drop it 14 inches lower than it is, put a wing on it, and change the tune a little bit, and we're going to go autocross racing.
Wow.
So that debuts in May.
Very fun.
Should be a very good time.
Very cool. David
Yeah.
Zemla, I always love when you bring me the new
Thank you.
news. I
Thank
love
you.
what you get into.
Thank
I
you.
love that now.
We're loving the show. We're big fans of the show.
Thank you so much. I love that you are, in my mind, or perhaps some of the viewers, S&S equates V-twin, but not the case. You're in a lot of
you know
spaces
what?
right
that
now.
will always be where our heart is.
Yeah.
I think we're never gonna turn away from that.
But it's okay to be out doing
But
other
it's
stuff.
very fun to do some other stuff too.
It is very
Yep.
fun.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much. Have a great show.
Thank you.
David Zemla from S&S Cycle. And huge thanks again to David Zemla for jumping on with us and chatting about what's going on over at S&S Cycle. They're up to all sorts of awesome stuff at all times, right?
They've never stopped moving.
No,
they really don't.
No, it's performance everything over there, whether it's motorcycles, of course, but now they're in like ATV, UTV. Yep. They're running with King of the Baggers. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. So it's great to catch up with him at AIM Expo this year out in Las Vegas. Speaking of King of the Baggers and baggers is this theme of today's show over here. My second story for today is I'm going to be talking about the world's fastest bagger. That's right, you didn't mishear me. My first story and second story both claim to be the world's fastest baggers over here because the folks over at Buell Motorcycles, that's right, Buell is back again. This is the third version of Buell that's been floating around.
Like
they ended up putting the paddles on that brand ka-chunk and bringing it back to life last year. They were also at Daytona last year, which is where the photo that's on the screen right now is coming from. I had the chance to stop by and visit them in 2022 at their booth set up at Destination Daytona in Ormond Beach. I stopped by to check out this machine in particular that was floating around. This was the prototype version of a model that was also released at Daytona, but this week for 2023, and that is going to be the next slide on your screen. This is the 1190 Super Tour that was revealed at Daytona just this past week. They also had the Super Cruiser, which is their collaborative bike with Roland Sands Design, which we talked about here on the program just a handful of weeks ago. As always, you can go watch all of our previous episodes. They live forever and ever out here on the internet, on YouTube, or on our Facebook pages for motorcycle and power sports news. So this bike, however, is what was revealed alongside that Super Cruiser, and this is the 2025 Buell Super Touring 1190. Look at this absolute stunner. As you saw from the previous slide where they were doing a bit of a prototype vibe, this kind of was pretty true to what they ended up coming up to finish with, along with that very kind of adventure vibe, saddlebags going on, but still some sport vibes from the front end. There is just a lot going on with this bike. This is the Buell Motorcycles is moving into the sport touring genre with this 2025 Buell 1190 Super Touring motorcycle. Super Touring features a fairing. Those side bags, they come in both a hard and soft style, taller bars, a more comfortable seat, more forward foot peg, and various fairings. This motorcycle is a result of a collaboration with another Michigan brand, the designer Jay Reuter, and it retains many signature Buell designs, such as a frame that doubles as a fuel tank. Beautiful, beautiful bike from the folks over at Buell. This is slated for 2025, and Buell is describing the Super Touring as the world's fastest adaptive motorcycle. Although it is considered a sport tour, it can be converted to a track bike in less than 1 hour, according to the Buell insiders at its Grand Rapids, Michigan headquarters. The Super Touring is powered by Buell's American-built ET V2 motor, which puts out approximately 185 horsepower at 10,600 RPM. Torque peaks at 102 foot-pound when you spin the 72-degree V-twin up to 8,200 RPM. It is a dramatically over square. It's matching a 106 bore to a 67.5 millimeter stroke to create that 1190cc combustion chamber. 2 port injectors and a pair of shower head injectors send fuel to be burned in a 13:4:1 compression ratio environment. Buell boasts a touring-friendly, however, 40 mile per gallon from the high-performance engine, while claiming to be the world's fastest production touring bike. I am, for one, super pumped to see this bike. I think that the actual finished production version of this is just beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love the graphics of it. I love the styling of it. That is a slick looking bike. Last but not least, the final number that everybody's going to want to know about is the price tag of this bad dog. For 2025, Buell Super Touring 1190 has a projected MSRP of $21,995. They are accepting reservations to pick up one of these beautiful bikes for a whopping $25. Josh, what do you think about the 1190 Super Touring?
It's funny because when it first came out and when you had that photo from last year and I saw that and I thought, okay, that is rough. And it was a prototype bike.
It was rough.
I thought when they're going to release this, it's either going to look vastly different or it's going to look rough. And somehow they made it look exactly the same, and its fit and finish looks great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good looking bike, and like you said, it's got the very Buell characteristics, the fuel tank and the tank in the frame. It's got the brake, or the radial brake there. I mean, there's a lot of great things about it, and to me, what I see with this is the sport touring market too is something still really hot. When you look at Kawasaki with their the ZX-10 Tourer, when you look at the GT1000 from Suzuki, it's still a hot market. People want to go fast, and they want to take their bags and their luggage with them. So why not? Yep, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I normally kind of am on the struggle bus about this mishmash of genres. This, however, for me really works. I can't quite put my finger on exactly why, but it's very aggressive from the front. The double headlights absolutely send me. I do love the whole front end of this bike, and the adventure bags on the back of it. Really slick, really unexpected, really sharp. The details on the seat and the tank. It's got a carbon fiber detail on it. It's hard to see in this photo, but it's just really incredibly good looking. And the fact that this is going to be coming in at under $22,000 for an American-made V-twin tour bike.
Yeah.
Clutch my pearls. I am just completely shocked by that. I cannot believe that that's actually really going to happen. This is slated for 2025, so we're all going to have to wait and see how this actually really shakes out. But that's what's going on for my second story today. My tale of two baggers,
Nice.
both of which are considering themselves the world's fastest baggers. Josh, what's going on for your second story today?
So we're going to talk about something that's closer to 18 horsepower instead of 180 horsepower. The Versys 300 is, granted, it's not 18 horsepower, but it is closer to that than it is 185. The Versys 300 has been a phenomenal bike for Kawasaki. And the thing that sometimes it lacks is a little bit of oomph, we'll all say. And even there's so many people that get on this bike, especially as beginners, that absolutely love it as a great way to get out, get into motorcycling. It's unintimidating. It's a great way to get out and do some adventuring, get out on those dirt and gravel roads and stuff like that. But once again, when you get to go on the freeway with this bike, it is a little bit scary, and not because of the fact that you're trying to hang on for dear life. So there's always been this thing with anyone that has a Versys saying, boy, if I just had a little more go. Kawasaki has recently teased out kind of three motorcycles that was basically, it was one of those things that came out on social media, went out, and then was perfectly drawn back seconds later. There's not even really many screenshots of it, but March 17th, tail end of this week, you know, dealing with that pot of gold, there is a big reveal for three different motorcycles for Kawasaki at the Osaka Motorcycle Show, one of which they're saying could be an adventure bike, which it would make sense if you've seen the Ninja 400 and how that engine's set up, to detune that a little bit, give it a little more torque, and suddenly we have a Versys 400. That is my speculation. That is my hope, and I believe the hope of a lot of other Versys owners and lovers out there. The other thing on that is, on the flip side, that 400 engine is due for an update. Do they grow it? Do they compete with the CB500X? These are some of the questions that I'm looking forward to Friday being answered.
Yes.
When the covers come off.
Yes, at the annual Osaka show, for sure. I'm really excited to see what's going to be coming from the folks at Kawasaki as well. I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. I think there is a really high potential for the Versys to turn into a 400.
Yes.
I think there's a really high potential for them to be using the now outdated 400 engine while they go ahead and slap a new 400 in the Ninja 400.
It's just that little push.
Yeah, I think that they're going to still find something to do with it, so that way it doesn't get totally thrown out and into the trash.
Correct.
I think it's just going to be put into a little bit different platform. That is my vote as well. The Versys, again, like you'd mentioned, 300cc is such a great entry-level bike. I do dig on that. I do dig on the bike. But she does need a little bit more guts.
Push.
She needs a little bit more guts. She needs just a little tiny bit more scoot, I think, to really be able to be a bit of more of a home run here, especially in the U.S. market.
Correct.
So we're all going to have to wait and see. You better believe, though, we're going to have all of those stories like we always do every single week. We bring you all the breaking news out here in Motorcycles and Power Sports land. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll have another episode waiting for you next week. See you guys in the comments, and have a great week.